Hey guys, I'm back with a video that's probably long overdue. I have done a video on my in single before, but this video's kind of got a little bit of a different twist. This is the knife that it took me about 15 or 20 times before I got it. You're probably wondering why I have this Glock laying on the table next to these two knives. And that's because if you've heard me talk about, I was about to say Spydercos. If you've heard me talk about Sebenzas before, you've probably heard me call them the Glock of the knife world. And for everybody out there, no magazine, nothing in the chamber. We're clear. The Glock. Why the Glock? The Glock is, a mid-price gun that just functions. It's not pretty. It's not fancy. It just functions. It just does its job relentlessly. Just you load it, pull the trigger, it works. It doesn't matter, it works. Same thing with these knives over here. Everybody talks about the fact that they're and I'm going to talk recent production here, so nobody get in the comments with any extra comments or anything like that. Talking recent production within the past 5 to 10 years. We're talking S30V or S35V in steel more recently. Very vanilla, very run-of-the-mill. It is just a user, worker, manageable, not going to wow you, not going to blow you away, but it's going to be there for you and serve you every single time. Plain titanium handles. Now, that is not for all of them. Some of them have inlays, but they're all basically just CNC machined titanium slabs that may or may not have some type of an inlay. So just, again, straightforward, very few parts. We're talking, and I should have counted this before we started. There you got the blade, you've got the two washers, you've got the pivot, the bushing system on the inside, you've got two screws here, the stop pin, you've got the lanyard tube back here, or lanyard pin back here. Then you've got the spacer, the blue part here, that is around these two screws here. And then you've got the two handles and the clip with the screw. So, I mean, we're talking about, I don't know, probably 2, 4, 6, 8, 9, like 15 parts possibly. I mean, it is a pretty simple knife. Again, back to this analogy. This gun and Glocks, again, we're talking Gen 1 to Gen 4. Things changed over time, but we're talking roughly 30 parts. I mean, very basic, straightforward design, very few things to go wrong. It just works. The tolerances are extra tight. Just, I can't remember exactly what they said the tolerances were. I think it's like within a 10,000th of an inch or something like that. It's something crazy. Apparently the way they market it or used to market it is that their tolerances are tighter than NASA's tolerances. So just crazy tolerances. This is one of the knives that he did invent the frame lock. So, I mean, there is that, but this frame lock just blows me away. It's not fancy. It's not obvious that anything is special about it. But because of the way they treat this lock face, you can have a Sebenza your whole life, basically. And the lockup is pretty much not going to move. It doesn't stick. It doesn't slip. It just, again, it functions. It just functions. The action of the blades, it's always spoken about how smooth they are, how hydraulically smooth they are. Now, the 21 has a bit of a different pivot system, but I prefer the 21 over the other models. Not that I have anything against them, but I like just simple, bare bones, straightforward designs. The ergos it's a stick basically. I mean, there's one indentation here, and then that's it. It's a stick. Now, I have heard some people say, like I know Nick Shabazz has famously said, the 21 doesn't fit his hand. I don't know, hadn't really heard that before, but like I was having a discussion about the smock on my IG page, no one knife is going to fit every single person, every single use case, every single hand. So I'm sure there are cases where even a design as basic as this doesn't work for someone out there. But I mean, for the most part, it's just, it just works. This blade shape, the single blade shape, why I have this, you've got that swedge up top that comes down to a decent point here, and it can pierce, as well as this belly, you can slice. The grind is nice and lean. It just works, guys. It just works. If you are in the market for a higher end knife and you haven't tried a Sebenza, it's one of those knives that you don't really get it until you sit back and look at the sum of the parts, and you really look at your other knives and you look at this knife and you kind of use it a little bit more, and your appreciation for it just continues to grow. Again, it's one of those knives that took me 15 or 20 times to finally get, and I see why this is in the big three. I also think that I also know that these are knives that will never leave my rotation again. If you want to know why, the same knife in two different sizes, this I can carry when I'm, out leisurely. I prefer a larger knife. I work in an office, so I need something to carry in the office. This is much more office friendly. So I can't really say enough about them. They're so understated, but there's so much that's really going on. And I know they get the appreciation, but I think it's one of those things that is so subtle, it's easy to overlook. And you hear a lot of people say, why is this knife $400? And I really think that you have to get it in your hand, and you really have to have handled some other knives to really see the sum of the parts here for what it is. I mean, this is some pretty high level engineering here. And then on top of what you get in your hand, the warranty and the spa services that are offered on the back end, the fact that they ship it with tools, they want you to take it apart, they want you to maintain it. It's everything about the knife, the company, everything is just positive, positive, positive. Again, every knife is not for every person. I'm sure there's some things that you can say about the knife or the company or the owners, etc., the creator, etc. But just great knives, great all around user knives. Something I think that somebody that might be newer to knives, newer to higher end knives, when you pick it up, you're really not going to understand why this is such an expensive knife. But it's definitely a knife I think everybody should handle at least once. Even if you don't own one, get into a knife store, get into a knife show, handle these knives. I really think they're a very subtle, under talked about, even if that's even a word, which I know it's not, knife that I really think people need to get out there and experience. So I appreciate you guys watching. Hopefully I didn't ramble on too much. I'll catch you guys in the next video. Remember, a lazy man carries a dull knife.